Alright guys, in this video we are going to talk about estimation with division. So our learning target is I can use estimation to help me divide. And by estimation, I mean round to a certain place or to get close to. Give me a reasonable number. An estimation is not an exact answer. I'm not wanting an exact answer here. I'm just wanting an estimate. I'm wanting something that's about what it would be if this were the exact number. So to do the first one, we're going to do 640 divided by 9. So when I look at this, I'm going to disregard that 0, and I'm just going to look at 64 divided by 9. So I need to think of my multiples of 9, because this will help me figure out how many times 9 can fit into 64. So my multiples of 9, I'm just going to list out up here. 9 times 3, 9 times 4, 9 times 5, 9 times, 54, 9 times 6, 9 times 7, and 9 times 8. And that will get me close. So then I'm figuring out, okay, what gets me close to 64? If I look at these, the closest thing to 64 would be 63. So I would figure out that this is 9 times 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, which equals 63. So that means while I'm estimating, I'm going to estimate this to about 630, because that's my closest number, divided by 9. Forget that 0 for right now. 63 divided by 9 is 7. Add that 0 back on, which is 70. So my estimate of my answer here would be 70. So let's look at the next one here. 481 divided by 4. So the first thing I want to do is round to the nearest 10. So I'm going to look at this 8 here. I want to look to the number to the right. The 1 makes it stay the same, so it's going to be 480 divided by 4. So now I'm going to list out my multiples of 4 to help me figure this out. So my multiples of 4 would be 4, 8, 4 times 3, 4 times 4, 4 times 5. I'm trying to get to 48 here. 4 times 6, 4 times 7, 4 times 8. Oh, I'm going to have to go, let's see, 4 times 8, 4 times 9, 4 times 10, 4 times 11, and then 4 times 12. And that one works out pretty nice. I want to get as close to 48 as I can, and I can get exactly 48. And so that would be 4 times 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 4 times 12 equals 48. So this 12 here is going to be my key. So 480 divided by 4. Forget that 0. 48 divided by 4 is 12. Add that 0 back on. So my estimate would be about 120. Okay, let's look at our next one that we're going to estimate. Now in this case, I've gone to the thousands place. So I want to round to the nearest 100. Round to the nearest 100. So I look at the 4. I look to my number to my right. It's a 3, so that 4 stays the same. The rest turn to 0. The numbers in front stay the same. And I'm dividing by 5. So I'm going to disregard these zeros, and I'm going to focus on my multiples of 5. And I want to get as close to 24 as I can. So 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. I think I can stop there, because I just want to get as close to 24 as I can. As close to 24 as I can would be 25. So what would that be? It would be 5 times 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 equals 25. So I'm going to now take my 240. It's going to become a 250, because remember I'm estimating. And so this is as close as I can get with a multiple of 5. So I've estimated to 250 here divided by 5. Forget that. Oh, I should have 2 zeros there. I'm sorry, because it was 2 zeros here. So let's make sure we have 2 zeros here. Cancel those 2 out. 25 divided by 5 would be 5. Oops. Add those 2 zeros back on. There we go. So my estimate here would be 500. I'm going to go back up here and highlight what was my estimate. I have a lot of work that I showed there. So those were my estimates. Let's look at another one here. So I'm going to do the same thing. I want to round to the nearest 100. Okay, so if 3 is in the 100 spot, I look to my right. That means my 3 stays the same. The rest turn to 0, and the numbers in front stay the same. So I'm doing 5,300 divided by 6. So forget these zeros, and I'm looking at this 53. So I want to get my multiples of 6, and I want to get as close to 53 as I can. So 6 times 1, 6 times 2, 6 times 3, 6 times 4, 6 times 5, 6 times 6, 6 times 7, 6 times 8, 6 times 9, 6 times 10. Okay, I think that's all I need to go. So as close as I can get to 53, I could get to 54. That's as close as I can get. And 54 would be 6 times 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 6 times 9 is 54. So that's as close as I can get when I get to multiples of 6. So the 53 turns to a 54. Don't forget those zeros. So now I'm doing 5,400 divided by 6. So 54 divided by 6 would be 9. Add those 2 zeros back on. My estimate would be about 900. 900. Okay? And lastly, the International Space Station takes 644 minutes to orbit the Earth 7 times. About how long does each orbit take? So I want to know each individual orbit, so that means I'm going to divide here. So 644 divided by 7. But it has this word about. When I see that word about, that means I'm going to estimate or I'm going to round. Those are the things I'm looking at here. So rounding this one, I'm going to round to the nearest 10. So I look to my right. The 4 means I keep it the same. So I'm going to do 640 divided by 7. So let's get our multiples of 7. How many times can 7 fit into 640? Times 3, times 4, times 5, times 6, times 7, 7 times 8, 7 times 9, and 7 times 10. And so the closest I can get to 64 would be 63. And so 63 would be 7 times 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. 7 times 9 is 63. So now when I'm estimating, I can change my 640 to 630 because that's the closest I can get with multiples of 7. So 630 divided by 7. Forget that 0. 63 divided by 7 would be 9. Add that 0 back on. So to answer the question about how long does each orbit take, we would say about 90 minutes. And that would be our estimate for our answer there.